In today's fast-paced business world, reliable logistics is key to success. That's where PC and FS Logistics come in. With a comprehensive range of services including air, sea and domestic transport, as well as secure warehousing, we've got your supply chain covered. From origin destination, our expert team ensures your goods are handled with care and delivered on time, every time. Do you have what it takes to become a soccer superstar? Look no further than Soccer Pro Academy. Led by experienced coaches, including a former Socceroo, the Academy provides world-class training to help you reach your full potential. From technical skills to tactical awareness, they'll help you develop the skills and mindset needed to succeed at the highest level. Soccer Pro Academy, where champions are made.
Are you looking for the perfect kit for your football club? Try Aerosport today. From jerseys to shorts to socks, Aerosport will have you completely covered. We can even cover your merchandising line, including hats, beanies, scarves, jumpers, and so much more. So if you're looking for excellent lead times, great pricing, and even better quality, try Aerosport today by looking at our website at aerosport.com.au. And even better quality, try Aerosport today by looking at our website at aerosport.com.au.
Looking for a haven to unwind and indulge? Look no further than Brista Cafe, nestled in the heart of Derrimut Village Shopping Centre. From decadent homemade gourmet cookies to scrumptious muffins, every bite is a delight. Everyone loves Brista Cafe, and you will too. So why wait? Visit Brista Cafe today and taste the difference for yourself.
Hi guys, Sundai here, letting you know that there's a apparel company that supports the game that you love. It's called thereisonlyonefootball.com, guys. They've got all sorts of stuff, from caps, t-shirts, water bottles, all sorts of accessories, even for your mobile phone.
In today's fast-paced business world, reliable logistics is key to success. That's where PC and FS Logistics come in. With a comprehensive range of services including air, sea and domestic transport, as well as secure warehousing, we've got your supply chain covered. From origin destination, our expert team ensures your goods are handled with care and delivered on time, every time.
Around about the time when in England, you'll note the calendar girls, the old women were raising money.
Absolutely.
Everybody was stripping naked.
Yes.
So that's what the Matildas did. There was the 8 men of AFL, all of that sort of stuff. But it caused a huge fuss. But it was the only way they could get a story written about them. Is that not just extraordinary?
Unbelievable.
So, how times have changed.
Yep.
So when did
that's today's episode.
So when did you get involved in the game originally? What was the year that you got involved? Because I remember you were very much into AFL at one stage. Very much into AFL.
Well, that's what El McFeast.
Exactly.
El McFeast was based on AFL. Yeah. I got involved with the game when I took my son down to Lion Park in Sydney to train with Coach Stewart when he was 2.
Okay.
At the Seaplane Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the things about having little kids, guys, is that, and I'm sure that when you had kids, if you've got kids, maybe it wasn't the time when the fathers took part in caring, but you need activities for them where you can see they're having fun, running around in the fresh air and mixing, and you can actually have a bit of a break. So that was what my soccer was. But professionally, this is really interesting. When Puskas was coaching in Australia?
Yes.
South Melbourne, yeah.
So apparently, when I was El McFeast on Live and Sweaty, I didn't even know that story. All I knew was the producers set up an interview with me and the South Melbourne Hellas guys, who are my friends to this day, and I've refound them through my children. Mikey Cahill, his parents had a sex shop, a porn shop.
Oh, really?
And so, Live and Sweaty sent me down there. Yeah, they all did shifts there, like selling appliances and books and undercut. So anyway, so I'm in this Putzis film that Tony Wilson's just made because they used my story with them. What they did was Putzis used to watch the games back on VHS, and the players substituted one of Mikey's parents' porno movies in the cassette.
Oh my God.
And gave it to Putzis to watch. But they didn't realise that he had the president there and all of the dignitaries there to watch the game with him. And so when he put on the game to watch Kimon Taliadores and, Ange Postecoglou and all of that, what he saw was two people hard at it in a very strange position.
Let me tell you, I'm going to see that movie on Monday evening. I've got tickets on Monday. Just to the Palace at Leichhardt.
I'm in Sydney, great.
Yeah, Sydney. I'm in Sydney. Are you in Sydney? Where are you?
I'm in Melbourne, but you'll see me in it at a much younger version.
Yeah, so Elia, do you know Elia Santora? Do you know Elia?
I don't know Elia.
Yeah, Elia's coming, and there's a few of us going. So we're going to get some Italian food in Norton Street first, then obviously up to the Palace, and watch the movie. So
fantastic.
I will be watching with bated breath that you're in that movie.
Yeah,
fantastic.
You'll see me.
So the funniest. Go on, Libby. Go on.
No. I was just going to say it was just what I love about those soccer boys is that I found them again through my children's soccer journey because I didn't know anything about soccer, nor me nor my partner. We weren't really au fait with the Melbourne soccer scene when we finally got here. And they were all just so generous, saying, you should take them there and you could join this club and this is how you do it. Like, they've been really generous. And, of course, we've all been rewarded with the fact that both kids are actually quite good. Shay's in the under-23s at South.
Beautiful.
And Dali's the state goalkeeper for the under-15s. So, although it would be under-17s this year if she makes it. So it's been quite a remarkable use of time.
Nice.
Okay. So
Harry, are we on air yet, or are we just reminiscing?
We've been on air for 15 minutes, Kenny.
We've been on air for a long time.
You've been talking about your chooks. Yeah,
chooks. My God, mate, the chooks.
Well, hang on. Don't we normally start at 8 o'clock?
Yeah.
Didn't you get the text?
We had to get really quickly because of El's. She's not El. It's Libby's in the car. We don't want to waste her battery or anything. But that's the thing. So El,
Libby, my apologies. I was unaware of that. But I'm only a bit part. I'm a bit like the Love Boat. They just bring me in now and then.
You're the Love Boat.
The Love Boy, yeah.
That's why we. You know how I introduce him? I introduce him. Great Scott, it's Kenny Wilson. Great Scott, it's Kenny Wilson. That's how I introduce him. That's how I do. That's
well,
the thing.
Why I asked that question, the last time I thought we weren't on air, I sort of slandered a few people.
Oh yes.
So I've got to be careful. I've got to be careful what I say.
You do.
Exactly.
You do.
Exactly, guys. That's
I'm a bit naughty, so I've got to be careful.
So, Libby, how does your young daughter choose to be a goalkeeper? Because to be a goalkeeper, you've got to be a slight super crazy. You've got to put your body on the line. How does a young person decide, yep, goalkeeping is my calling? What was the moment that your young lady decided, yep, this is me. I'm going to be the best goalkeeper I could be. I'm going to be the next Mackenzie Arnold.
Well, the answer to that question is having a brother 4 years older than you who plops you in goals in your nappy and kicks balls at you.
Oh boy!
It becomes a natural reflex. So it was just a sibling thing, probably a little bit like Daniel Kerr and Sam Kerr, I guess. When you've got a sibling, there's just the two of you, you end up having to play together. And soccer was always part of his life, and therefore he kicks balls at her.
That's amazing.
I don't know why that makes me laugh so much, but it's
funny.
the story, right?
You would have to have so many of these stories that you would have. So many stories. I mean, I don't know how you could get all these stories. How many stories have you got now?
Well, the stories that I choose for Red Cards for Mummy, Kenny, that's my podcast. You really should take a listen.
I'm gonna
enjoy it.
Gonna have to have a look.
100%. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna look at it.
Just have to listen. Just listen. There's no pictures. It's just listening.
Cool. Perfect.
You'll love it. So, like, Sister Matilda's, the one before that, I did Oh, so yeah, there was the Puska story. Then there was Gary Van Egmond, and he was talking with talking about. Well, he ended up talking. Well, he talked about coaching the Chinese women's team, but he also talked about he's got 2 gay children, and there was another guy who's a Liverpool fan who was on with me, who was on with the show, and they both had 2 gay children. So it ended up in this very strange conversation that I'd never heard before about 2 dads talking about understanding and dealing with having gay children, which I'd never heard that conversation before, and I've heard lots of conversations. What else, Maria? Then we talked about how much kids get paid, the pathways to greatness, because there is no set pathway to become an international or even a Socceroo or a Matilda, is there?
You got to work hard at it.
It's all very random.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have this conversation all the time, but cream always flows to the top. If you've got exceptional ability, you'll get found. Someone will spot you, and as long as there's lots of things that make an elite football player. It's not just ability; it's perseverance, it's dedication. There's
tenacity.
So much that makes that, and there's not a lot of people that have all the attributes together. But the ones that do, regardless of what happens, predominantly get found. Someone finds them, or someone recommends them to someone, and they
even here.
Yeah.
From here.
Well, someone said to me a few weeks ago, and it was a great comment, that the game was found and developed for the poor, and it's being stolen by the rich. And that's what's been happening in the last 15, 20 years. But the African countries, the South American countries, the third, the low demographic families, predominantly that's where the high skill factors come up, because kids don't have PlayStations, they're out kicking a ball like I was when I was a kid. I mean, I spent 8 hours a day kicking a ball, and that's how you learn your craft. You can. I mean, I don't care how many coaching sessions or how many elite coaches say, well, I'll have your kid for 2 nights a week at an hour here and an hour there. That ain't going to make any difference if the kid hasn't got the dedication to spend hours and hours with a ball, kicking it against the wall, in the bedroom, heading it against the wall. That's how you develop your craft. You don't develop your craft going into Sydney FC's academy during the school holidays. I mean, it's fun and it's exciting to meet players, but you don't develop as a player doing that.
So Carlos.
Permission to speak.
In relation to Kenny's comment, the biggest difference between Australian children and people in Africa, South America, is it's for them. It is a pathway out of poverty. Australian children have never experienced famine or civil war, so they might have the drive, but if they don't make it, it's okay, because there's a fallback position for the Suarez of this world, Cavani, to get that contract overseas. Avedi Pele, it is to get the whole family out of poverty. So this is the main difference between Australian-born children and European children as well, who have a fortunate lifestyle. But us, we have never experienced famine. We have never experienced a civil war or social unrest. And we have a welfare network that if everything goes south, we will be looked after. So that's the main difference. They have the tenacity, they have the dedication, but sometimes if you don't make it, it's okay, because they have plan B.
But the other issue we've got this issue, a huge issue here, where it's our kids or families have got based on their ability to pay rather than their ability to play.
That's a big comment.
And it's so prevalent everywhere. I mean, we were talking a few weeks ago. We were talking about, I think it was the under 16 trials down at Wollongong, and these kids were getting charged $3,000 to compete. So I mean, when you drive that kind of, and you imagine a single mom with 2 kids or 3 kids, and it could be a girl that wants to play, 2 boys. you want to play, even at grassroots, it's nearly $350, just a real bread and butter local comp. Well, that's $1,000 for a single mum, still got to buy boots, still got to trip them around. You know, it's an enormous financial headache, and it drives a wedge with the type of players that we need, because that's generally where the elite player comes from, is that type of family. You know, the South American, it could be indigenous, it could be, but predominantly they're the ones that are striving, as what Carlos says, striving to do better for themselves or help their family, their mother, their father. And if you look through historically, even when I was growing up, I mean, I came from a very poor background. You know, come Friday evening, we were lucky if we had a meal on the table. So, you know, I know it's not quite as dramatic as obviously being in famine and wars, but I still understand what it is to have to drive myself to sort of do something at an elite level. And I think, unfortunately, you know, the game's going in a way where the rich are driving the game, whether it be Premier League in England, you know, tickets are now 65, 68, 70 pounds. Well, imagine if it's a father and two sons. That's nearly £200 to go and watch a game. 200. That's like, you know, half a week's wage for most people, you know. So anyway, it's we're at a crossroads where the game goes, but we always rise from the ashes, regardless of what happens.
And Libbi will take us to the summit.
Yeah.
The thing about the game, though, that I find of interest, I can't really join that conversation because everything's out of control in terms of finances and sort of pillaging the grassroots level in order to fund it. But it's this globalisation of the game that's led to this moment whereby even a third-tier player in the EPL is now known in Australia, is better known in Australia than a Puskas was in the 1990s. And it's because of FIFA. It's because of the game. So the kids are playing the game and they're taking on the identities of players that in the past no one would have even known about. And what's interesting is that if that continues, then that whole chip on its shoulder that soccer's got, that it never makes the front page because everything's always about Collingwood and Carlton and Richmond and WA, that's shifting. I've been hearing on the ABC Premier League news, NPL news, A-League news, stuff that never would have got heard before, that it's been featured on the sports news in a prominent position. And I'm interested to see whether one day it actually unseats a pissy round of AFL. I still love AFL, but I'm just really interested that soccer's taking its place even here as a world game. You know, it's not just a niche thing on the side for WOG.
One thing I'll tell you, Libbi, I'll tell the boys as well, is that what happens is that the kids also don't want to wear A-League shirts. They want to wear the European stuff of their favourite players.
They do.
Do your kids are in the same position?
Yeah. But yeah, they do. They look at the top. They look at the top tier. But you know, both of them would love to play A-League.
So they want to play the...
Yeah, but Harry, that's not unusual.
It's no longer seen as a graveyard for players. It used to be seen as a graveyard. Now it's a stepping stone to get seen. You can get seen in A-League.
Yes, you can.
The Matildas or the Socceroos or...
Exactly. Carlos?
So you just got to get seen.
Exactly.
Yeah, look, you know, get seen. The issue that we have is we have this, you know, the 13 clubs that make up the A-League, so opportunities are limited for children, for the young ones to shine, and many of the young ones go overseas and get discovered overseas. But the small league and the tyranny of distance makes it very difficult for a lot of the kids to have opportunity, because we only got a small number of teams, and therefore it's not a number of places. And I agree with Kenny, sometimes it's not how good you are, but how good you perform on the day, or who you know that gets you into that trial game, and then things go right for you and you got places. You have a bad day at the office and you get, you know, punted out, or you have an injury and you become yesterday's hero. It's a tough gig.
But mate, the game, you're right, but the game, I'm not talking today, for the last 80 or 90 years. Football is the boulevard of broken dreams. Always will be. Won't change. There's only so many spots, even in the Premier League, there's 20 teams. Even if they've got 20 players in the squad, right? 400 players. There's probably, I don't know, 1.2 billion kids want to play football or soccer. So the heartache and the amount of players that don't make it and get discarded, it's nothing new. Unfortunately, because of the way social media is now, it's probably more prominent in people's faces. But I mean, when I played with Rangers and I got a free transfer, I was devastated, absolutely devastated. But there's millions of kids around the world that sign up from school for clubs like Man United and Newcastle, Juventus, and they go through the youth teams, and it comes a point where the club looks at them and goes, probably 2 or 3 you might make it, but the other 8 are not quite good enough, so we'll let you go. So it's quite ruthless, and it always has been.
Yes.
But just the way the game is.
Libbi, we have to let you go. I know you're very busy, so thank you for joining us tonight. We'd love to get you on and get us on your show, and let's talk about some more stuff. It's up to you. Fantastic being the soccer mummy, of course, the red card soccer mummy, and more stories. We're going to get on your website. Thank you for joining us, Libbi. Thank you.
Thank you, Libbi. Good night.
Thank you. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
In today's fast-paced business world, reliable logistics is key to success. That's where PC and FS Logistics come in. With a comprehensive range of services including air, sea and domestic transport, as well as secure warehousing, we've got your supply chain covered. From origin destination, our expert team ensures your goods are handled with care and delivered on time, every time. Do you have what it takes to become a soccer superstar? Look no further than Soccer Pro Academy. Led by experienced coaches, including a former Socceroo, the Academy provides world-class training to help you reach your full potential. From technical skills to tactical awareness, they'll help you develop the skills and mindset needed to succeed at the highest level. Soccer Pro Academy, where champions are made.
Are you looking for the perfect kit for your football club? Try Arrow Sport today. From jerseys to shorts to socks, Arrow Sport will have you completely covered. We can even cover your merchandising line, including hats, beanies, scarves, jumpers, and so much more. So if you're looking for excellent lead times, great pricing, and even better quality, try Arrow Sport today by looking at our website at arrowsport.com.au. And even better quality, try Arrow Sport today by looking at our website at arrowsport.com.au.
Looking for a haven to unwind and indulge? Look no further than Brista Cafe, nestled in the heart of Derrimut Village Shopping Centre. From decadent homemade gourmet cookies to scrumptious muffins, every bite is a delight. Everyone loves Brista Cafe, and you will too. So why wait? Visit Brista Cafe today and taste the difference for yourself.
Hi guys, Harry Sundai here, letting you know that there's a apparel company that supports the game that you love. It's called thereisonlyonefootball.com, guys. They've got all sorts of stuff, from caps, t-shirts, water bottles, all sorts of accessories, even for your mobile phone.
In today's fast-paced business world, reliable logistics is key to success. That's where PC and FS Logistics come in. With a comprehensive range of services including air, sea and domestic transport, as well as secure warehousing, we've got your supply chain covered. From origin destination, our expert team ensures your goods are handled with care and delivered on time, every time.
Unbelievable, guys, to be able to have a celebrity like that on the show here tonight. It's amazing to hear some of the stories, and I can imagine the stories, Kenny. And that thing, you're going to explain to us, what is this book you're getting from some guy, and whatever is the story that Libby was saying about this book, 30 books you've got or something. What is this?
Comics.
Comics, are they?
The comics, yes.
Okay.
So what they are, when you're a kid, you used to get what's called an annual, which is a book, which is a compilation of all the comics that used to come out fortnightly or monthly. Yeah, the Beano, the Dandy, and there's annuals every year or bi-yearly.
Yes.
And that was part of your Christmas present. You got one, and they'd be all sorts of different annuals of TV shows, and but the one she mentioned, Roy the Rovers, is very famous in the UK.
Fantastic.
I used to read the Phantom and Mandrake.
Yes. I used to do that.
And the Green Lantern.
Yes,
the Green Lantern. Yeah.
I get a Scottish one, which is called Our Willie, and it's about a Scottish boy growing up in Scotland with his family. And then there's another one called The Bruins, which is another Scottish family, and that comes out. It's in the news, the back of the newspaper, Sunday newspapers in Scotland. And then every year at Christmas, there's a biannual. It's either The Bruins or Our Willie. I've probably got 40 years worth of them. I've got them back to probably the mid 60s. So I collect them and I keep them.
Absolutely amazing. Now, Kenny, of course, I've got a message here from King Kenny Taylor. He says, "I thought Kenny was a celebrity." He's on target tonight. He's on target tonight. There you go.
Mate, he's obviously he's getting lonelier and lonelier. I keep telling him,
guys. The weather in Melbourne, you've got no idea. We have called the game in Melbourne now hot soccer. Hot soccer. We're calling the game hot soccer. I mean, you got no idea what's been going on the weekend, and this is really bad. Carlos, I'll tell you, the north of Australia. I'm going to tell you stories about the clubs up there have struggled, and I tell you what, today I'm going to make sure that I say a very big cheerio to Raby Graham. They have copped the third time their club sort of like it's all flooded. And the club rooms, that's the third time. That is ridiculous. Is there a curse in Queensland about soccer clubs or football clubs, or what do you call them? I mean, what is going on? And us down here, people, on the weekend, listen to this one. There was a game on Sunday. 35 degrees. They're playing in around 3 o'clock. What is this? I mean, what is going on with the weather here? Kenny?
But we keep making the same mistakes. It's a bit like the starving people are still living in the desert, and we haven't moved where water and food is. Mate, why would you? Mate, Lismore, for example.
I know.
Every time we have any floods, the river bursts and it floods the town. So they've got to move it to higher ground. They can't keep rebuilding in the same place.
They keep doing it.
Rabbit Crane's grounds is in a low-lying area.
It is.
It's going to flood. I think I saw the report, and he's saying, well, the clubhouse or whatever is up a bit higher, so that's not too bad. But the issue is that the grounds are going to get flooded regardless. If you're low-lying in a floodplain, you're going to get flooded eventually. Maybe not this year, next year, but it'll come around. We'll get it cycled. Lismore gets it every 2 or 3 years. Totally flooded out. How they people survive and keep... You can't get insurance there,
You can't do
Lismore.
it. No, you can't.
Yeah.
The other point I want to make to you is, well, Carlos, this week, I was at the game. Am I frozen? Am I?
It's come back.
I want to be frozen, actually, in some kind of Antarctica. The weather at the moment, I'm telling you now, you've got no idea what it's like in here, in this studio right now. So what I'm going to say is this, Carlos, let me just say this to you. This week, or last Friday night, I had to get to Preston to watch South Melbourne at 5 p.m. 5 p.m., let me tell you, Kenny, where have we had these crowds ever we're going right back to before the NSL, and we're talking here 9,036 people. Kenny, I walked in, I said, am I in Europe? This is like a European game. I thought I was in Europe. The crowd.
I mean, it's fantastic. Yeah,
I couldn't believe this.
It's like I said to you, You got to be, one sunny day doesn't make a summer, mate. It's
No, we
the
don't.
only game that attracts that. How many did Heidelberg get? 380 people at the game. How many did Marconi Sydney Olympic get? 800 or 900.
We need to Carlos.
So don't use Preston Lions as a yardstick.
I'm not
because they're very unusual.
The other thing about
go
on, Carlos.
Look, every league will have much of the round that will attract the highest number of people. And South Melbourne and Preston you had the history, you had the rivalry, and you had the football. So, no wonder why 9,000 plus turned up. The other clubs, they have the football, but they don't have the rivalry with the other team. So, but new NPL is the same. The A-League is the same. There'll be. We went through Western United, who's playing great football. They can't get people. So
I know that.
Every round will have a game that will attract the biggest number of people because of the drawing power of the football or the two clubs.
I'm just very concerned this week, and this is what I feel. I did the research this week about the game at Avenger. This is really bad, boys, and I'm thinking everyone out there who's thinking of getting out to Avenger Park, please go to Avenger Park. Let's watch the game at 3 p.m. But I send a message to Avondale FC to say, listen, are you guys going to play the game in 35-degree heat? The players are playing in 35-degree heat. I'm just sort of giving a message out there. Will you make the game later? And then I spoke to someone, and they actually said to me that, Harry, there's no lights there. So can it be moved somewhere where there's lights and a bit lower? I mean, we're talking about later on in the day. I don't know. I think they're going to be thinking, this is the thing, Carlos, how can you actually have players walking out there 37 degrees? 37 degrees, gentlemen. Carlos?
Look, historically speaking, we've never had these unusual weather patterns in March. So no one in FA Football Victoria could have predicted at the beginning of autumn we will have these crazy weather patterns. Now, Football Victoria, FA has guidelines as to heat and when the games are not to be played and when to be played. But no one could have predicted this crazy weather pattern of late. Sydney, we got, where I live today, 31 millimetres of rain. On average, the rest of Sydney got 14. Now, on Thursday, Friday, Sunday, we're getting 30 to 37 degrees heat and no rain. So the whole weather pattern is turned upside down. So no one could have predicted the temperatures we have on the weekend. So, move the ground, but are the facilities available for the people that want to pay $10 to watch the game under lights? So it's not just say move the game to another ground that has the lights. There might be a game that has the lights, but is it good enough for TV? Is it good enough for people to feel justified paying $15 to walk in? So it's a lot of parts to this equation.
Exactly. So let me just say one thing about this is how I keep saying to everyone out there, when we had the games in the 70s or 80s, we never had YouTube. People used to get out to the games, fair weather, everything. We talk about that. But let me just say this, guys. Well, now we have YouTube, and people. I was very surprised how many people on YouTube on Friday night would have watched the game. It was absolutely amazing. Sold out. Nobody could get in. But let me say, I'm really worried about the weather and the players playing. And we know there's got to be some kind of something from Football Victoria to actually change stuff. But let me get Carlos. Did you go to some of the games in New South Wales at all?
Yeah, I the week before I saw Spirit FC, who's leading the competition, defeat St George City FA 2-0, and on the weekend I saw Spirit coming back from behind to beat the Wanderers 3-2. Away, and they're still in the competition. So NPL New South Wales, I'm sure like NPL Victoria, there's some very good players and a mixture of youth and former A-League experience that make the league very exciting. And there's also some great up-and-coming coaches.
Yes, exactly.
Cutting their teeth in NPL.
Yes.
And we've got to mention Alex Epakis, ex-coach of the year for University of New South Wales Women 5 years ago.
Yes.
Went to Perth Perth Glory, now named the under-20s Matildas coach.
Yep,
and
that's a great point. But he was
and Stuart Cooper from South Australia, 17s coach. We still don't have a senior coach, but Alex Epakis from Perth Glory, and also coach of the year in New South Wales when he coached the University of New South Wales.
But
the NPL.
Staj is the one that took him everywhere. Staj even took him to the Philippines, yeah?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
so he had some great mentors, and he deserves the gig. And I think we need, obviously, we haven't chosen a Matilda's coach.
Yes.
But if we're looking locally, I think the way Western United is playing, John Aloisi will be a great fit because he has a great TV persona, he's great at public relations, and he knows his football inside out. We need a Matilda's coach ASB, maybe after the next FIFA window in April.
He's done a fantastic job
in the
men's game. I mean, he's done a wonderful job at Western United. Now his brother has coached women, so the potential is that if he does come in and take it, and he brings his brother in as his assistant or whatever, then he's got, because it's a different animal, coaching men and coaching women.
Yeah, no, but
it's different.
At the end of the day, it is, as a coach, you're selling a vision. And if you bring the players on board, they're female or males, you sell the vision and your ideas, and it's all about inspiring them. So the dynamics will change how you treat people and speak to them, no doubt. But at the end of the day, is selling your style of football. And we don't have a playing, the Matildas never had a playing identity. Just under Popovich, we do have a playing, we know how we're going to play, but the Matildas under Gustafsson, we never had an identity that we knew we're going to play this way, and this is our way. And the new coach needs to come in. It's very exciting youngsters coming through under 20s in the A-League, so I think it would be a good carrot to give the new coach. Look, we have some really exciting youngsters who eventually will play the Katrina Gorrs of as well. Okay. And they will need a playing identity, that we play for the back five, or that we never say die attitude and use that attributes to be who we are.
But the interesting thing, Carlos, is we've put the cart before the horse. And I agree with you, the lad that they've appointed, I think is a great appointment, but it's very highly unusual for FA to appoint coaches before appointing a head coach, because a head coach will have a vision how they want to play. And he normally wants his own guys that understand how he wants to play. So we've sort of put the cart before the horse. If we get a coach X, Y, and Z who looks at these guys and goes, look, they're good coaches, but it's not how I want to be playing and moving forward. I want to bring in X, Y, and Z, because I know there's been a couple who have actually been interviewed for the Matilda's job and very specifically have said, if I come,
I'll bring my whole staff.
Yes, this is what I want.
There's a lot of money involved here.
Yeah. But going back to what Carlos says, the lad that's been appointed under 20s, I mean, Staj has taken him everywhere. And keep in mind, he was with Staj when Staj got laid off. Staj took him in the Philippines. Staj took him in Perth. Staj took him in the Wanderers. So he rates him extremely highly.
That's fantastic.
That's right.
If Staj is taking him everywhere, he must be good.
Exactly. Now, what I want to do is I want to go through, everybody's talking to me about doing the community stuff. I'm doing the community stuff tonight. I'm going to be talking about the games last week. The scores, guys, it was great. Of course, on the Friday night last week, it was Green Gully versus Dandenong City, 5-0. 5-0 Dandenong City. That's unheard of. So these guys must have been working pretty hard. We're talking Preston Lions and, of course, South Melbourne. Preston 2, South Melbourne 0. And, of course, the big stuff here, Hume City and Altona Magic, another Macedonian club, which and of course a good friend there is former Socceroo, of course, another one there. Of course, Hume City 2, Altona Magic 0, St Albans 1, Avondale FC 4, Dandenong Thunder 3, Heidelberg United 2, Melbourne Victory. This is the big one. Melbourne Victory 0, and Oakley Cannons, Chris Taylor, are 3. Boy, that's a massive win for them to beat them. And of course, the Knights, Melbourne Knights, 3 versus Port Melbourne 0. I tell you what, the games in Victoria, the standard that's happening, it's getting bigger. The standard has become really different in Melbourne. Now, a lot of people have said to me, Harry, we've watched the standard of compared to New South Wales, and there are more people going to the games. There are more people going to the games right now, which is amazing. We understand it's a different class at Preston, whatever's going on there, but a lot of people are turning up to the games too, Carlos. But New South Wales has this problem where nobody seems to get out there. This is the thing, their promotion, or what do they need there?
Look, I don't know what their answer is. If I knew the answer, I'd be rich. I do think that we need to do more than social media advertising to promote the game. It's a multifaceted approach to promoting the game. I remember when we had the afternoon newspapers on the Sun and the Mirror, there'd be a little, quarter of it, like a business guy ad, get tomorrow's games. Obviously, print media has changed, the landscape has changed, but I don't think Football New South Wales is doing enough to promote the game. I went to the launch of NPL Men's. It was a breakfast at Valentine Park, 8 o'clock. So I left home at 7. It's about a solid 40-minute drive from the east to Valentine Park. They paraded the club captains, NPL, League 1, League 2. The mayor of Blacktown was there. The local member for Blacktown was there on behalf of Steve Camper, the Minister for Sport and Recreation. And you know what? There was no breakfast. Well, there was your number one downfall. You invite the press to attend a breakfast lunch, and I was expecting at least a Scotch finger biscuit, an urn, and tea bags and instant coffee for me to mingle with other people. Well, and this is how you network. This is how you get connection.
Carlos,
it was all over about 9 o'clock.
Do you think it's time for BYO? Here we go.
Well, I think it's time. I think
Kenny's about to laugh.
I think it was. Look, I think it was.
I went there. I got there a little bit late, but I got a croissant. I did.
Really? Did you really? Oh my God, Carlos, you went late. You must have gone late, Carlos.
Yeah. You had to buy it on anyway. So, I mean, if you're going to, if you want to promote the game, if you invite people to this launch, and there was no mainstream media. Let's be clear about that. There was no Telegraph or Sydney Morning Herald person. No. There were just all these internet-based people who write back of the net, and soccer scene, myself. But you look after your base.
Exactly.
I went in. I didn't have breakfast. I'm going to get a list of bacon and egg roll, and there was nothing. So me and Roger put it on breakfast. So I think to promote the game, you've got to start looking after your base, so we then promote the game. Don't have a receipt. We used to have a lunch at night time, very lavish dinner, this and that. Well, cost cutting has come in. We don't do that anymore. So we do a breakfast.
Kenny,
8 o'clock on a Friday.
Yeah, I just
want
to ask Kenny, when you were down at during the NSL, weren't you down at Spirit, at Northern Spirit? Now,
I used to go down there. Laurie was there, Laurie McKenna, and obviously Arnie and Robbie Slater. Yeah,
what was it? And that was a new club brought into the NSL, right? And that was done by the Scottish club, of course. Glasgow Rangers brought them in. Is that right? They were
they were talking about it, but it never quite eventuated. But you had obviously Graham and Robbie were part owners.
I see.
And they had invested relatively heavily in there, and obviously the Friday night game at North Sydney Oval, it for a while it fired.
Was there people turning up? There was people turning up.
Big numbers. Big numbers.
A new club.
And they were attacking that, British. After the game was, I think 7:30 it may have been. Yep. So they'd come from the offices, go to the pub, have a few drinks, come there, and the downfall for me is it was always an oval, a rugby league oval. It wasn't a proper soccer.
A rectangular, that's right.
It wasn't so it was. I'm a bit anti that. All the grounds that whenever I played Erskine Oval for Olympic, I hated it. Absolutely hated it.
Uh-huh.
But then obviously that morphed into what we now know as Central Coast Mariners. So they lifted it up. Laurie was then, I think Laurie was the coach at that time. Yes. They picked it up and they moved it. Although they were training at Manly at Cromer, but they were a Central Coast club at that time.
Yes.
They had removed. They moved up. Okay. So but it was a nice time for them for about, I don't know, maybe a year.
Yes.
And they had that real, the real vibe about it. It was a buzz. But it was like Newcastle KB in 78, 79. They were exactly the same. Mm-hmm. They had, buses selling merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
That place was buzzing. Alan Best had that place absolutely flying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Kenny Bowden.
Let me just say,
Graham Hayes.
Let me just say, and of course, people are turning up at that time. A new club put together, of course. But I don't understand how can we support our clubs? So this is where I'm going to say something right now to everyone here at Football Victoria. All the community of Football Victoria guys, please get out to your games this week. I'm going to say this to you guys on Friday night: Heidelberg United versus Hume City. Okay, that's 7:30 p.m. down at the Olympic Park down there. Green Gully versus the Knights on Friday night as well at 7:30 p.m. Port Melbourne versus Melbourne Victory. That is a big game on Friday night. It's all Friday night games.
It's a Melbourne derby.
It's a Melbourne derby right now.
It's a Melbourne derby.
Oakley Cannons versus St Albans. Of course, St Albans are doing quite well this year as well. Now this is the big game. This is top of the table clash between Avondale FC and Preston Lions. But I am really concerned about the weather. We spoke about that before. We'll see whether they change the venue. To me, a venue, the best venue would be at the Matildas. But there is no shade, gentlemen. There's no shade at Avenger Park. I'm not trying to criticise the park, but there's no shade or room for the amount of people that turn up there. So something really has to be happening. I'm sure Football Victoria will see what will happen when they do something. Altona Magic versus Dandenong City, and of course Dandenong Thunder versus South Melbourne. So get out at your games. Let's build the following and the way Preston are doing it as well. And you guys at least get 1,000 people at the games this week. But I'll tell you, gentlemen, right now. Don't forget, of course, on the 11th of April, we've got these two gentlemen next to me here right now, Carlos Bielli, the Lone Ranger, great Scott, it's Kenny Wilson. Don't forget, they're going to be at Brunswick City Soccer Club, of course, with Paul Wade. Wadey will be in his element. Is that right, Carlos? Wadey will be in his element, of course. Don't forget, Friday the 11th of April.
Paul Wade is an inspirational speaker after the battles he has had with his brain tumor.
Oh, yes.
And so he is a person that will tell you so many, that will captivate the audience.
He will.
Because keynote speaker have 10, 15 minutes to speak to us, and Paul Way is the type of person that the 15 minutes that he has will fly, and you want to hear more and more because he has a gift he captivates you with his stories, his down-to-earth attitude. I'm looking forward to hearing Paul Wade and his words of wisdom, and not that Kenny is, because Kenny will make a comeback to the 55, so right across.
Let me say one thing. I spoke to Wadey a few weeks ago. I spoke to Wadey, and of course, let me just say one thing. Wadey, do you want me to put a podium next to so he's there? And I've spoken to Val, of course, his wife, and let me just say one thing. I said, listen, Val, can you tell Wadey they got 3 mannequins there, 3 mannequins? And he said, I tell Wadey this is going to enjoy it. He's going to put those classic classic shirts that he collected from the other teams and swapped. He's going to put them on there. He'll be going across and showing them. And some of the stories of those shirts, honestly, those shirts. You've seen these shirts, Kenny, haven't you? You've seen them, Kenny?
Yes. Yeah.
They're amazing.
But it's history. It's history in the making. It's part of history. A shirt tells the story.
Oh, wait.
It's history.
And I'm telling everyone out there, of course, don't forget. And all the kids will be there. A lot of training will be there. The kids will be there, of course, after training. And don't forget, everybody out there should really bring their Socceroo jersey and get it signed by Wadey. Because I tell you, this is the biggest opportunity to get a signature there from one of the most popular Socceroo captains, of course. And boy, everybody's looking forward to the Maradona story. I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to spoil the alert here.
No,
please, Kenny. Can you Now, Kenny, the other thing he said, Wade, he says, well, would you like to do it on your own? I said to him, I'll put him on a podium, and he said to me, no, I'd like to sit next to Kenny and Carlos and everybody. So we're going to be. He loves to be in a panel. I think this will be the first time Kenny's been in a panel because he's always spoken by himself. Is that right?
Well, he does. He does a lot of motivational speaking, and
yes,
that's where he comes, and he's forte. Because he's very passionate about everything and very knowledgeable. And and what Carlos said, obviously he's came through extreme turmoil with his illness, and he came out the other end, and he's great. He's a quality human being,
and also shows that part of Wade's story is that he wasn't the most technically gifted player to play for Australia, but his tenacity and never say that, never say die attitude got him where he went, and he made it. Is because he had a never say. He knew his limitations. He worked on his strengths, and that took him to where he went. Captain of the Socceroos. The rest is history. So that's another example for young kids that you don't have. You could be technically less gifted than me, but tenacity and hard work and other attributes will get you that first grade spot.
And let me say, the amount of former players that are turning up, and everyone listens out there, and it's a free event. You can walk in, but I'll tell you, make sure that you actually save a seat. We've got our own VIP.
Oh yeah, tickets are selling fast.
No, there's no tickets, Carlos. Where did you say? Don't say that again, Carlos saying that. But let me just say, now, Kenny, you come from. I've got a message here from you, Kenny. This is amazing. I'm sure that this will happen to you, Kenny. I'm sure it will. But we will try and get some Sydney Olympic shirts for you to sign as well, because Jack says to me here, will Kenny Wilson be signing jerseys? Of course you will. And you will. Of course, we're going to get some shirts.
I'll sign anything. And Kenny Taylor will sign Heidelberg.
Oh, Kenny's...
we'll get it.
And we will also have a tattooist on the day to have Kenny Wilson's tattoo on your arm. KW.
Mate, I'm going to have to get a tattooist to come on the day. Is that right? I tell you what, that's going to be amazing.
Absolutely.
This is.
We'll get. I'll sign Beatles memorabilia, Elvis memorabilia.
So there you go. Now let me say,
I can forge any signature you like.
The story that Kenny will say that night of him coming to Australia as an 18, that is the big story too. You're going to be talking as well. Big story as well. And Carlos, of course, starting his show on Planet Football. When did he start it as well, and all that?
Well, mate, I'm going to unleash on King Kenny Taylor.
Oh, he's going to be there,
when
man.
we both went to Ipswich. Well, he was already at Ipswich.
Yes.
And I stole his girlfriend. He's never forgiven me.
Oh my God, guys! Don't say the story, please, Kenny. Don't let it out of the bag. Because let me say one thing about this too. I was thinking about this, and I said to myself, could we get a panel there all of a sudden of all Scots, a panel of Scots, which means, can you imagine?
That'd be horrible, mate. You need a translator. We'd never get to here. It'd be a disaster. It'd be a disaster.
Oh my God! But this is what you guys don't miss this.
Hey, someone just found, going off at a tangent, and someone posted it today. The guy that does the history of the game, he found the programme when Sydney Olympic we went and played Manchester United in Bedford Town.
My God!
And when we had Jimmy Campbell as a guest,
you should be using this on the night. You should be using this story on the night, Kenny. Of course.
Amazing! It's an amazing story about the guy that actually paid for the trip, who played with Jimmy's father, and it would be great to really get Jimmy to tell the full story. But it brings back so many memories playing at Old Trafford and playing at Preston. And playing at Bedford Town, and it was amazing. Well, somebody's found the programme and posted it.
Unbelievable.
Which was amazing.
Wow. Is there any memorabilia? If anybody's got some memorabilia of the NSL and they want to bring it that night, we'd love to go through it as well and show people of the former. And a lot of people thinking, Kenny, a lot of people do think out there, this generation doesn't know about the NSL. They think it started in the A-League, but no, guys, it started in the NSL. I know I keep going on about it, but you've got to look at your history before you can go forward. Is that right? That's how I look at it. But let me just say about this story of yours, and you pinched Kenny. Kenny says he's still traumatised. Kenny, he's still traumatised. Don't tell us, you know.
Mate, I told him. I said, look, if we're going out tonight, I said, don't bring your girlfriend. But he was fully, he was cocky and confident.
I remember.
It was a charm. Kenny's charm.
We're going to try.
Actually, I mean, it's amazing how like somebody like Gary McDowell, for example, and people who you meet in the game, and then full circle, you go right around the world.
Is he coming?
And I don't know. He may be. I spoke to him this morning.
Tell him to come. Tell him to come. Tell him.
But someone like Kenny Taylor and me and Alec, we're in Ipswich and we're in Glasgow, and then we end up in Sydney and in Melbourne and Australia. Gary McDowell, Tommy Sermani, for example. Mm-hmm. Tommy Sermani used to pick me up as a 17-year-old when I played for Albion Rovers for 4 or 5 months. Tommy used to take me to training, and then next he's coaching the Matildas, and he's a dear friend. But it's amazing how the game takes you around the world and brings you to a point. It's an amazing game.
These are the stories that I tell you what. These are the stories that Libbi would want on her show too. So she knows that we're going to do some stuff. We've spoken to her assistant that we can do. But let me tell you, that night you're going to hear stories that you've never heard. But you're talking about the pioneers of the game that actually came out to Australia, and what did they find? And a few little stories like that too. But it's going to be a lot of NSL identities. There'll be a whole table of VIPs as well. So this is a massive thing at Brunswick City Soccer Club. So guys, get down there. Please get down there. You're going to see stories down there. It's going to be on YouTube and then shown live after on, of course, on We're Talking Here, Aurora Foxtel. That's going to be there as well. So that's the thing. It's you guys are looking forward to it. Of course, Carlos, what are you going to wear that night? You're going to wear a shirt, some kind of beautiful shirt, mate.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to wear, but I'm sure there will be something that decent enough to complement what Kenny will be wearing. I'm hoping that Kenny wears his black shirt and sports coat.
Here we go.
Yeah, mate, suit and tie for me. We're
going to make you very official. And also, I've got one more before we go, guys, gentlemen. I'll tell you what. King Tony says she was no good for you because she was a Catholic. She was a Catholic. Kenny, here you go. She's a Catholic.
I'm not a bigot. I don't care atheist Catholic.
Oh my God! This is going to be.
It doesn't matter.
You're getting everybody out there. You're getting a sneak peek of what's going to be happening that night. So you're going to have a few laughs. You're going to have Wadey there. He'll have most of the night, but a lot of these little stories that we need to talk about. You're going to have A-League players. A-League players too. Nobody knows about this.
And you see us in the flesh.
Of
you
course.
can come and give Kenny a hug. Kenny is real.
Jesse,
he actually exists.
There's two.
Yeah.
There's two.
And I'm going to unleash. King Kenny Taylor used to shop in Chelsea, Girl.
We're going to. Oh boy! Don't let the cat.
He took me there one day and he says, "Look, this is where I buy my bell bottoms and my high waist pants."
Oh my God, guys!
I was tempted. I nearly bought a pair actually.
Oh my God!
I was nearly there.
But let me just say who the A-League players are, and this is very, very nice. We're going to hear this. We're going to get George Katsakis, who's the coach of Bentley Greens, before they play, and have a small interview with him. And guess who's playing for them? Lee Broxham. Lee Broxham was the former captain of course, Melbourne Victory. He's playing, and Jesse Macaronis, who played for Melbourne Victory as well, he's from Brunswick City. He's playing for Brunswick City. So you're going to have the two coaches. We're going to keep them separately. We don't want them to hear what they're saying, but we're going to have the two players who played at Melbourne Victory on the opposite side. So we're going to have A-League players as well, and a lot of little surprises happening as well out there. So don't forget, guys, on the 11th of April, this is an amazing show. We're going to have probably one of the best captains, one of the most popular captains, of course, Paul Wade, and that's going to be a massive. It's a free event. You better speak to the club if you've got tables and chairs, or you're going to be. We don't know. It could be 1,000 people. I've heard a lot of people are coming, but we'll see what happens.
Well, I think they have to be shown live on the big screen.
It is.
With the big matches.
I have a projector.
Because
ready to go.
Because there'll be enough. The Brunswick City clubhouse will not be big enough to accommodate, so people will be sitting in the stands, watching on the big screen, and it'd be a great night out. The atmosphere will be electric.
And let me say one thing about this, guys, and everybody out there, they have the best souvlaki in Victoria. Kenny, they're going to look after you.
I mean, how does Brunswick, an Italian club, have souvlaki? That beats me.
No. He always gets it mixed up with Juventus. It's not Juventus. It is Brunswick City Spartans. It's the Greek club. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean,
you forgot the Spartan part because you got Brunswick City.
I thought it was Italian. I made the mistake too. But Harry, have you received Carlos's rider of what he's expecting?
No, I think I know what it is already. I think
backstage. Yeah, I hope you. Yeah, we want mineral water. You know.
Yes. We'll be looked after, boys. We'll be looked after that night.
So just make sure. I don't want Carlos complaining that he never got a chocolate and a cup of tea when we get there.
Exactly.
Look, whenever I raise the issues,
oh my God,
it's because you need it. Not because I want a freebie. It's because you need to spend money to make money and promote the game. Not because I want a freebie. Other people think I go to the game to get a free feed. No, I go to the game because I love the game. I also love the camaraderie that I have with other people, and having a sandwich and a cup of tea helps to break the ice.
And don't forget,
I'm going to have to go. My check is
we are stopping. We are stopping in a sec. So let me say right now, guys, don't forget that night. A lot of things happening. We got more information for you. We're going to have a female coach. A coach next week is Vince Battiato. I'm going to try and get him on. He's going to talk about the women's game in Victoria. He was a state coach as well. So everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. Everybody, thank you, guys. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Libbi Gorr, for joining us. Fantastic. We got through the technical difficulties. It's getting too hot here. So thank you guys, everybody. Good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us, the footballers. We've got a special show next week of all the girls in the community playing in Victoria, and the state coach as well. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, on footballers. Thank you, Libbi. And of course, thank you, Helen Mary, for helping me as well. Thank you. Hey! Hup. Check it out. Hup, hup, hup. Good night, guys. Don't forget it's happening next week at 8 p.m. Tuesday night. Again, the women's game we're going to be talking about. Hup, Football Victoria. The cup of life, this is the one. Now is the time, don't ever stop. We should have known, gotta be strong. We should have known, right from the top. And when you feel the heat, the world is at your... Good night, guys. Thank you for joining me. See you next Tuesday. A big day for the girls. Thank you, guys. Good night. Thank you. Hey!
E se for pra viver só até quarta-feira, que seja intensa a vida inteira. Vamos dançar sem pressa de acabar. Te beijo ao som da bateria do mar.